Hi guys, welcome back. There is a consensus among a large dividend of population in India that Narendra Modi became the CM of Gujarat and then the PM of India because of Gujarat riots 2002. In fact, it is even said that it ranks no less than the Reichstag fire that propelled Hitler to absolute power in Germany. Also on February 27, but in 1933. We have always seen Narendra Modi being compared to Hitler, and this is where it comes from. Of course, Narendra Modi and the BJP has always challenged this narrative. I don't think that people stress on it enough that the Godhra incident, the Godhra carnage, and the riots that followed are actually a subtext of Ram Mandir issue. So is the Mumbai riots. Godhra riots have always been seen as an act of Hindu extremism and of the victimhood of Muslims in India. But anyone who has gone in depth into the history of what has happened knows that it is not so black and white. So on 27th February of 2002, the S6 coach of Sabarmati Express was set on fire in Godhra. It killed 59 persons and they were car sevaks. Car sevaks, if I understand it correctly, are Hindu priests who performs the Hindu rites in Ram Mandir for free. Survivors of the Godhra carnage and the eyewitnesses say that bottles filled with petrol was thrown into the coach, after which it was lit while the doors were closed. The Ahmedabad Forensic Science Laboratory rejects this story by saying that is almost impossible to set the coach on fire from outside and that the fire was started inside the coach. The report concludes that the coach was set on fire by someone standing in the passage of the compartment near seat number 72 using a container with a wide opening. About 60 liters of inflammable liquid has been poured and then a fire has been started in the bogie. The FSL conclusively demonstrates that it was virtually impossible to throw inflammable liquids into the train through the open windows that were at a height of 7 feet. The report said there was a 3 feet high mount running parallel to the track at a distance of 14 feet, and if the firebombers were standing on this mount and sloshing the fuel at the compartment, it will only about 10 to 15% of the fuel would have gotten inside. As the rest of the fuel would have fallen outside, there would be burn damage on or near the track, which was not there. Then there are 2 separate commissions set up to investigate the incident: the UC Banerjee Commission and Nanavati Mehta Commission. UC Banerjee Commission was set up by the Union Railway Ministry, and it also came to the same conclusion that the Forensic Science Laboratory came to, that it was impossible to light a fire from outside the coach. Now, the Nanavati Commission concluded that the burning was a pre-planned act to cause harm to the Hindu car sevaks in the train. The Nanavati report says that the vestibule between 2 coaches was cut by Shaukat Lalla and Muhammad Latika, who to gain access to the C6 coach to pour 140 liters of petrol. Hassan Lalla, another accused, then threw burning racks into the coach to set it on fire. For about 20 minutes, the coach was stormed from outside to prevent passengers from coming out. The conspiracy was hatched at the house of Maulavi Umarji and was executed by Rasa Gurjur and Salim Panwala. The petrol for the episode was obtained from a petrol pump in Godhra a day before the incident, the Nanavati Commission found out. If you are interested to know more about the findings of these commissions, I will share the link in the description. You can find them there. As the news of the Godhra carnage spread across the state, violence broke out everywhere. Close to 1,200 people died, which includes the car sevaks, in the following days of absolute mayhem, and many reaped the benefits of that violence. as we will see in this video. Now, the Nanavati Commission was also tasked with investigating the role of the then CM Narendra Modi and the top officials in the government and bureaucratic positions if they have hatched up a conspiracy to let the riots go on. Also, the Supreme Court set up an SIT, a special investigation team, to investigate if there was any larger conspiracy at the highest level. As Gujarat was burning for days, the media pointed their fingers at Narendra Modi because the police failed to control the ground situation. Narendra Modi was just 4 months into his first government in Gujarat, and there was a huge demand for his stepping down after the riots because he was being accused of withholding the police power in the state so that Hindus were allowed to slay Muslims for revenge. I'm sure we have all heard this, of course. And by 2004, the conspiracy case against Modi became official. The conspiracy was that there was a larger motivated effort to allow the mass violence in the state. That Modi and other top politicians and bureaucrats came together in a room to conspire that they will withhold police force from stepping in and stopping the riots. And that this conspiracy paid back Modi and BJP in gaining political power of the state and the center. Along with this conspiracy case, the media put Modi on trial. That trial went on for the last 22 years on the claim that he actually did this criminal offense. The left-wing media houses were notorious in this regard. Even today, you can actually see the same headlines as we discussed in the beginning of the video, that Modi allowed Gujarat riots to happen. When I was an anti-fascist liberal left myself, this was the biggest problem I had with Modi. Gujarat riot happened when Modi was in power. Modi caused the riots. He made it so for his political gain. And of course, what if the Khadsevaks were killed? Does that mean that 1,000 other people have to lose their lives? These were all the questions that I had in my mind. Of course, put there by the people benefiting from that. In 2006, Sakia Jeffrey filed the complaint against 62 people, including Modi. Teetsa Setalvad joined this petition and moved the High Court. Being a key person in this case by now, she has done a lot of campaigning and fundraising on account of this case and the Godhra riots. The High Court dismissed this case but asked the petitioners to approach the Supreme Court. By this time, the National Human Rights Commission has also taken a case on the alleged human rights violations in Gujarat. The Supreme Court then formed a SIT, a special investigation team, to investigate 9 cases of the Godhra riots. And in 2011, the then IPS officer Sanjeev Bhatt came out to say this, that Chief Minister Narendra Modi had asked police officials to let Hindus vent out their anger against Muslims following the Sabarmati Express train burning incident in Godhra on February 27, 2002. Though this bolstered the notion that Modi actually had a part in a conspiracy against Muslims, the Nanavati Commission found out that Sanjeev Bhatt was actually lying. As reported, Nanavati Mehta report has concluded that Bhatt lied about the meeting at Chief Minister Modi's residence. The report adds that Bhatt created a false document using a fax machine to bolster his lies. On consideration of evidence, it clearly appears that Bhatt is not telling the truth with regards to what happened in the meeting held on 27 February 2002 at the CM's residence. Chief Minister Modi's statements were a fragment of his imagination and this deserves to be discarded as false. Sanjeev Bhatt was arrested for custodial death of a person in 2015, which was at that time termed as revenge against this police officer for standing up against Modi. Then there is another high-ranking police officer, R.B. Sreekumar. Sreekumar was already appointed the additional DGP in 2001. Even as the state government maintained that the law and order situation was under control and the environment was peaceful enough for assembly elections, Sreekumar presented a report to the then Chief Election Commissioner saying 154 of Gujarat's 182 constituencies had been affected by the riots. His report also stated that over 1 lakh were disenfranchised due to displacement. It was due to Sreekumar's report that the Election Commission cancelled the plans to hold early elections in Gujarat. He was one of the very few officials who testified against the Gujarat government before the Nanavati Commission that looked into the 2002 riots. The most curious part about this is that R.B. Sreekumar was actually a very well-known name by that time, because Sreekumar, the then ADGP Intelligence, was also an accused in the ISRO espionage case. Another important detail is that he is a Malayali who has been educated in Kerala. Just saying. And once Sreekumar has been named by the SIT for a conspiracy against Modi, presently, Nambi Narayan has come out to say this. Rana Ayub wrote a book, Gujarat Files, The Anatomy of a Cover-up. The Supreme Court trashes Rana Ayub's book as based on surmises, conjectures and suppositions. Basically just guesswork and lies. The bench said, the book by Rana Ayub is of no utility. The court said the opinion of a person is not in the realm of evidence. Tehelka tapes refers to a sting operation done in some time where some persons made confessions implicating themselves and the top BJP and government authorities. The Human Rights Commission has directed a CBI probe into the authenticity of the Tehelka tapes on post-Godhra riots and the allegations made in them against cops and politicians. Supreme Court has said that the Tehelka tapes also have no legal value. Claims were only to sensationalize and politicize the incident. The Tehelka tapes, I think you must have seen it if you have followed the news updates about Godhra riots. It's just a tape where a local BHP or right-wing political party member sitting and saying that he had commands from the top authorities of BHP or BJP to unleash violence on Muslims. So the Supreme Court has said that it at best it proves a local conspiracy against Muslims, but not a conspiracy at the highest level. So this is the report of the SIT, which is also corroborated by the Nanavati Commission report. Now, the Nanavati Commission report at that time was heavily criticized for being politically motivated because Narendra Modi sustained power in Gujarat, and that was a bad thing. So this is what the report says. Riots happened after the carnage. There was inaction from some authority, but there is no evidence to prove any inaction or larger criminal conspiracy against the accused. That is the 62 people named in the Sakya Jafri case, including Prime Minister Modi, or a larger criminal conspiracy at the highest level. In fact, the SIT has actually found details of hard work and dedication from the part of police officers to curb these riots. Besides exposing the falsity of the claims, the SIT has been able to collate materials indicative of the amount of hard work and planning of the concerned state functionaries in their attempt to control the spontaneous evolving situation of mass violence across the state of Gujarat. Besides the handicap of administration, including inadequate state police force required to be replenished with the central forces or army, which were called without loss of time, and the repeated appeals made by the then Chief Minister publicly to maintain peace. Now, there is also an account saying that because of other crises happening elsewhere, the army was indisposed to come to Gujarat on such a very short notice, but they also did their best. Now, the SIT and the Supreme Court agrees that the state functionaries were overrun by the severity and the spontaneity of the situation in Godhra in 2002. Overrunning of state administration is not an unknown phenomenon. It has been witnessed all over the globe, but is that hatching criminal conspiracy? Breakdown of law and order situation, if for a short duration, cannot partake the color of breakdown of rule of law or constitutional crisis. To put it differently, the misgovernance of failure to maintain law and order during a brief period may not be a case of failure of constitutional machinery. There must be credible evidence regarding state-sponsored breakdown of law and order situation, not spontaneous or isolated instances or events of failure of state administration to control the situation. Once again, if you want to read the entire report, I will share the link in the description. Please go through it. Well, I want to begin with the brainwashing that I had to go through as a youth regarding this issue. I was just 8 years old when the Godhra incident and the riots happened. I started to learn about Modi from 2008 or 9, or 2010. From then, he was always called a criminal, a fascist, an Islamophobe, a violent Islamophobe. There was an IPS officer coming out lying about having evidence implicating Modi. I am remembering what Munawar Faruqi said about Godhra riots.
मुझे भी बहुत शौक था, तो मैं टीवी पे देख रहा था द बर्निंग ट्रेन. तो डैड आए एंड डैड इज लाइक, ये बकवास मत देखा कर, उन्होंने चैनल बंद कर दिए. एंड आई वाज लाइक, क्यों ऐसा? ही इज लाइक, ये गोधरा कांड का वीडियो है, न्यूज चैनल चल रहा है ये. लाइक मुझे तो लगा कोई मूवी चल रही है डायरेक्टेड बाय अमित शाह समथिंग, प्रोड्यूस बाय आरएसएस, कुछ पता नहीं. तो मैं ऐसा मूवी देख रहा था.
Why wouldn't any millennial believe that Modi was a Muslim-hating fascist? Are all these people who has been saying this about him for all this time now going to go back and retract their statements? Will Modi be called not a fascist for the next 20 years? Is that gonna happen? And what about defaming this politician in an international level? We all know that he could not go to America because of this. Will the media now make a public statement saying that everything that they ever said about Narendra Modi are wrong and that he was just an innocent CM caught up in an unprecedented and spontaneous wave of crime? Imagine that happening. Now the main witnesses have become the main accused. Hopefully that investigation will lead somewhere. Setalvad, Bhatt and Sreekumar, 3 of them are in jail by now. In judicial custody. No, in judicial custody or jail by now. Now I can sit here comfortably and say that Modi is not Hitler and that Modi is not a fascist who came to power by spilling the blood of thousands of Muslims in the streets of Gujarat. I hope you liked this video. Please hit the like button if you did. Tell me in the comment section what you think about the SIT report and about the role of Modi and the role of other political parties and organizations in what has transpired. To be quite frank, I have been inconsistent in the past in making videos. I am trying to change that pattern. So please subscribe to my channel to get a fairly consistent feed from now on. So have a great time and see you soon. Please subscribe to this channel for more content like this. Share this video with others and follow me on my Instagram and Facebook pages. The links are given in the description. Thank you and have a great time.